Okay, Kevin Trudeau for the rest of the hour with us. What are you doing over in Germany right now, Kevin Trudeau?
Well, I've been in Europe for a couple months. My friend is the Crown Prince in Bahrain and invited me to the Formula One, so I kind of started the trip there. And of course, Bilderberg is in Greece. I have friends who are part of that organization. The Global Climate Change Summit is going on in Copenhagen, so I had to shoot up there to meet some people and find out what the real scoop is behind the scenes that you're not hearing about on the news. The Formula One was in Monte Carlo, which is always a good fun, of course, and a lot of people come to the film festival in Cannes. So during this time of year, I like to be in Europe because I can meet a lot of people, get a lot of background information, a lot of behind-the-scenes inside information. I'll tell you what, some of the conversations you have on the 200-foot yachts off the coast of Monaco, you can't believe what really goes on behind closed doors. And this is what you're exposing, Alex. I'm a big fan of your documentary work. You know, I've watched Endgame years ago when it first came out, the Obama Deception. If people haven't watched that, they need to watch that, both of those documentaries, to really understand what's going on. And the fact is, people are being misled. And once you have your eyes open, now you're empowered and you can do things that you need to do to make your life better and protect your financial future for you and your family.
You say you know folks in Bilderberg. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'll give you a lot of information. I happen to have a lot of inside connections all around the world, also in Malaysia and China, and many of these people are members of royal families, which there's a reason why I know a lot of these people. I've just been very fortunate over the years to make these connections and have these contacts. But when I was with Matt Lauer, I was on the Today Show. It was live. And Matt thought he was going to blast me because of my book, Natural Cures. And the first question he said is, you know, you're not a doctor. What qualifies you to write the book, Natural Cures? And I says, Matt, one of your good friends is Donald Trump. He's just filed bankruptcy 3 times. What qualifies him to write a book on how to be a successful businessman? And it was complete silence, and Matt didn't know what to say. The rest of the interview went very, very well. And I really had good comebacks from Matt. Well, right after that interview, I was immediately canceled on Larry King.
Oh.
And the senior exec, and Larry King called me and he said, Kevin, I'm really sorry, but they said that you can do Paula's on because she can edit you, but they don't want you live anymore. They're just afraid of what you're going to say.
I've been told the same thing about myself by a lot of producers. They'll set me up and then it gets canceled, and they say, we're only allowed to do tape with you, I guess because they've got to have a rigged stacked deck again.
Yeah, again, people don't understand the information you're getting in the major media, and you've said this, the people are actors, they're reading a teleprompter. I was on with Donnie Deutsch, and Donnie says, hey, I'm so happy. When I was on NBC, by the way, he said, Katie Couric's a big fan, you got to make sure you give her a signed book. I signed probably 50 books for people there. But he said, but on television, we have a certain agenda we have to promote. And this is what people don't realize. I was on Fox with Bill O'Reilly and Judge Napolitano. They tell you in advance, we are told we have to take this viewpoint. And the information people are getting from the mainstream media is so skewed. I would tell everyone, stop watching the news on television. Just shut it off. You are being brainwashed beyond belief. Listen to Alex's show. Go to Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, and .tv. Get the information from the alternative sources that don't have the filters. You're getting truthful information here, and with the truthful information, with your eyes open, you can make intelligent decisions, and you'll do better in your life.
We're talking to Kevin Trudeau, the king of, what would you call it, alternative news and information?
Well, I've been called the king of infomercials because I did $3 billion just from infomercials in America, selling my mostly books on television, and I've been the only guy to be able to sell books on TV. 50 million copies of my books have been sold. My most recent book's called Recession Cures.
Now, I'm intrigued by Bilderberg, Michael Trudeau, because Daniel Estelin, he has several people he knows in Bilderberg, people he calls attendees, not members. And I know he's not making it up because I have some other inside sources, and I believe Danny. But he talks about how a lot of them don't like what's going on. It's about 25 people at the very top of that are steering it, but they're networking as elitist. And so you're saying you know some Bilderberg people, but then you mentioned to me George Soros, quite a stinker there, who's bragged he's having, quote, a great crisis. So I mean, if the New World Order, this global system, from your research, you know, as a multi-billionaire, internationally known, who does jet set around talking to all these people, who is the New World Order? Where are they going? What's their main goal? And any inside info from Bilderberg 2009?
Well, the specific goal is when you sit down with these people, and I've traveled the world with these guys, you know, they really, I would say they're not Dr. Evil. They're not sitting there planning on wiping out the population. In a weird way, they think what they're doing is for the best for everyone, but they do categorically believe there's two classes of people on planet Earth. There's the ruling elite class, and they do believe, and Henry Ford talked about this, Andrew Carnegie at the turn of the century talked about this, and throughout history, they do believe that through genes and DNA, even Donald Trump has said it over and over again, you have to have good genes, otherwise you're not going to make any money. They believe it's genetic. And so they believe there's two classes of people, that there's a ruling class by genetics that are powerful enough and genetically designed to rule the other people that are nothing more than the worker bees. That's really what they believe. Now, I'm telling you, that's where they're at.
But now, because they have robotics, as Bill Joy, head of Sun Microsystems, said in the April 2000 issue of Wired, the future doesn't need us. The elite want to get rid of us. Now, I know with you, they're not going to come out and say, hey, we want to wipe everybody out. But I have ABC News here and Times of London, billionaire club and bid to curb overpopulation.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I've been sitting on the boats off the coast of Barbados with the guys who basically said we need to get 2/3 of the dumb people off the planet. I mean, I've been in the meetings, and it wasn't in an evil way. It's a matter-of-fact kind of way that they think it's for the benefit of planet Earth and themselves.
Oh, yeah, they're committed. They've said this is bad genetics. They're passing it on. They're lazy. Here's my next question, and after you finish what you're about to say, it's just, this is so intriguing. This conversation we're having is blowing me away. And I always have done this, as a quote journalist. They say this is off record. People know I don't ever break off the record meetings. I've met with major CEOs, biggest Hollywood people there are, just huge. And they go, Alex, you try to warn them, and look, some listen, most don't. They want to be slaves. They want to die. Join us. You're smart. You're good. That's the sales pitch, is that the slaves don't want to be free. But if that was the case, they wouldn't be trying to keep you and me from reaching the people. So it's an overall fraud. But I've had them, at petty level. I'm not like a multi-billionaire like you, who's so much more successful telling the truth. But I've had them offer me millions of dollars and promise more if I'd sell out. So A, finish up with their mindset, and then B, have they tried to buy you off?
Well, they're not concerned, quite frankly, so much with spreading the word because, as you just said, their belief is no one's going to listen anyway. So who cares? It's like, you're more of an annoyance than anything, but actually they believe that what you're doing and what I'm doing is, in a way, to their benefit because we're desensitizing people to these realities.
Yes,
absolutely. And so I've been told that's why I still get invited on the yachts.
Yeah, I've been told that too, and wow, unbelievable.
But in terms of economics, I mentioned to you after the break that I was talking to George Soros. He says, we're and I know a lot of this inside information as well. We're making more money now because of the crisis than you would imagine. I mean, we had bank stocks shorted huge in the fall before they all crashed 90%. I mean, the fortune we made just shorting the bank stocks was off the charts. I mean, that was the simplest, goofiest thing in the world. When I wrote my book, Debt Cures, almost 3 years ago, I was the first guy on national TV to say, look, everyone's a moron. This consumer lending is going to explode. The housing market's going to crash. Foreclosures are going to go through the roof. And what at Bilderberg we talked about is the fact that the media is so, you don't even have to do anything to the guys on CNBC or MSNBC. They're so stupid